I'm a bit more experienced than your normal person, I think.
5 minutes later.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lunatic Cooking. I'm the lunatic who cooks, well, food. This food to be precise. And what I have today for you is an absolute hangover takeout special. We're making a spice bag today, yay! So this is a real, I think this is like an Irish and UK type of thing. Whenever you go out drinking, at least up in Dublin, you generally conclude your night with a good old Chinese takeout, and most orders will include a spice bag. And the spice bag is generally it's chips, chicken balls, shredded chicken in a spice mix with some veggies. I will throw in some spring rolls for good measure, and this is how you make it.
So let's get to action, my friends. If you want to use homemade fries, you may prepare them a day prior. I've already prepared mine. You can cut them into strips like this. You don't have to really be super exact. I mean, like, look at this. They are not the same. They are not even related, but they are good friends and they live here in this water. So you can prepare them a day before, soak them in cold water and leave the bowl in the fridge. And then the next day you can use them. But obviously you can also use frozen fries from the shop. It's much easier. I've done that before and they're lovely. I just wanted to take it an extra mile because I'm, recording a video on YouTube and I want to show myself. This is how I do. And now what we're gonna start with is that we're going to take our chicken. We're gonna do 2 breasts for the shredded chicken, 2 breasts for the chicken balls, and we're gonna cut them in different ways. I'll show you how. And we will let the chicken sit with some baking powder just to tenderize it. I find that really takes it a long way. And while it's tenderizing, we are going to take care of our spring rolls. So I have spring roll wrappers here that I got in my local Asian store. I recommend that you get them pre-made. I've never made them from scratch. One day I will, but I am terrified because you know what? Like, if there's one weakness that I have when it comes to cooking, it's making pancakes. Those biatches will be sticking to the pans and annoying me, and I will be irritated, and it's just a bad day when I'm making pancakes. So I don't even bother. I buy them homemade or store made. That's how I buy them. Then we will heat up our oil to get our fries ready. We will fry the stuff in this order: fries, spring rolls, shredded chicken balls. And before we start the frying process, we will get our veggies for the stir-fry mix ready together with our stir-fry mix spice mix. So that's what we will do. Therefore, I think, without further ado, let's get to work and let's get cooking. Alright, so let's get our chicken ready. We are going to take our chicken breast, and if it has any ugly bits like that, I normally just get rid of it. Just get rid of it like this. Perfect. So first, for the chicken balls, pretty easy. I just cut the chicken breast in half like this, and then create little cubes. Well, not so little. You do want to have a substantial bite on that. So you see, from half of this breast I got 4 chicken breast. Sometimes you'll get more, sometimes less, depending on how big your chicken is, how much steroids they fed him. And here it is. And now for the shredded chicken. So the shredded chicken is a little bit different now. I generally take it like this. So I take the breast and I cut it in half horizontally, so like this. I didn't get a huge piece. And then you just want to take thin stripes like this. They can be various sizes, doesn't really matter, but they just have to be kind of long and springy. Then you take the rest of your chicken and you do a similar thing. You just want relatively thin stripes. Perfect. So save them here. Now repeat for your remaining chicken and we'll check in afterwards. Okay, here we are. So now we are going to take a little bit of baking powder, sprinkle it into both bowls. I would say there's maybe 2 teaspoons each in here, and then you just want to go over with your fingers and make sure that you spread it quite evenly. So I do this because the baking powder will tenderize the chicken, and you want to let it sit like this in the baking powder for at least 30 minutes, I would say, before proceeding further. It's just in time for us to make our spring rolls. So while the chicken is tenderizing, that's exactly what we will do. And we start with the baking powder and not baking powder and everything else, because sometimes the baking powder doesn't touch the chicken and doesn't tenderize it good enough. So I always like to start it out with the baking powder and then go in with the flavor. Because the texture, I would say, it's quite important. And it's very specific for Chinese takeout food, that it always has a very specific texture. It's like when I first experienced it, it was like nothing I've ever had before. And when I found out this trick with the baking powder, it was quite revolutionary for me, to say the least. So here we are, just going to rest while we take care of our spring rolls. So for our spring rolls, we are going to make a filling out of bean sprouts, green onions, regular onions, and carrots. It's quite simple. Some people like to use rice vermicelli noodles. Done that before, but you know what? Personally, I like to not use them. I find like this little quattro here is good enough, and here is how we mix them. Okay, my friends, so here we go. The way that you want to cut your carrots is into thin stripes. Now, my knife skills are pretty awful, so all of them are different sizes and different shapes. But I highly recommend that you do actually practice your knife skills by doing it to the best of your abilities. As you see, mine are terrible, and so can be yours. You might be tempted to use a box grater to grate your carrots because it's faster. And sure enough, I've done such a mistake myself in the past. However, the effect is not the same. Therefore, I would recommend that you do test your knife skills and you take your time and you put a good audiobook and you listen to it, or you listen to your husband like I do, telling you stories, and cut them into thin stripes like this and then throw them in a bowl. And now what we're going to do is repeat for our green onions. Okay, my friends, so you want to do exactly the same thing for your green onions. You want to cut them up into little stripes like this. You don't have to be very exact, again, just practice your knife skills, have a day trip with this, throw it all in the bowl, and now we're gonna take our onion and we're gonna just cut them into little stripes as well. Okay, so you want to chop your onions like this, just little stripes. Everything goes in the bowl, throw it all in there, and now we are going to bring it into our wok and heat it up a little bit and throw in a couple of spices. So let's get cooking. Okay, my friends, so let's start with our wok. Grab your wok, put it on your stove, turn it on max heat, let it heat up, and then we're gonna add some oil. Okay, so now that your wok is hot, you wanna oil that baby up and introduce your mix. Now just be careful, like this, and You want to mix it up. I kind of mix it up like a salad. Just be careful because they're quite large pieces, and we don't want to cook it too much, but we just want all the veggies to nicely soften up. So just give it a couple of minutes, and once it's nice and softened up, we are going to introduce our spice, which is going to be quite simple. So let's just fast forward to that point. Okay, so now that everything has gotten nice and relaxed in our pan, we're going to introduce our spices. So you want to get a good dose of white pepper, and then a good amount of salt. Well, you never can go wrong with salt, in my opinion. And then a bit of sesame oil for good measure, and then a bit of fish sauce for more good measure. Now be generous with that. It carries a lovely umami flavor, and you want to get that in there. And then I like to put in a little bit of oyster sauce. You can also use hoisin sauce. That's also allowed. So put that in there for good measure, and then mix your veggies through. Now I'm not introducing soy sauce because A, I'm running out, and B, I don't want my mixture to become too wet, because wetness and oil, especially hot oil, as you guys may know, they don't go well together. So here it is, good mixture, and you're gonna wanna stir it a little bit for a couple more minutes, and we're gonna meet for rolling our spring rolls. Okay, so now that we have everything ready, you want to take your wrappers and you want to cover them with a damp, clean tea towel. So I'm gonna set that aside, and we're gonna start rolling. Okay, so now you want to lay one of your papers in a diamond shape on the workspace, and then get your filling in like this. Make a little square with it, and now you can put as much as a little as you want. I like my spring rolls quite thick. And also you want to prepare a little slurry with corn flour and water. You want it to be quite thick. You know, you create one of those liquids that when you hit it, it's solid, but then when you ease into it, it's liquid. You know, it's like this magic liquid. You see some of those videos where children run through a pool full of that. It's quite fun. You want to take the paper, tug it in over your filling. Now roll it. When you get about halfway there, you want to close the sides like this, and you also leave a bit of room like this. Now you want to take it, fold it, and be quite careful not to have too many air pockets in there, because that's never good with frying, because it might explode on you. And then you take a bit of slurry and you just close it up like this. And here is your large spring roll. Now take it to the side and repeat until you run out of your filling. That's what we're gonna do. So let's get to work. Okay, my friends, now is the time that we've all been waiting for. It's time to get our oil. I have about 2 liters of it here. Actually, looking at it, I might get a little bit more. Get about 3 liters of either vegetable oil or sunflower oil. I personally prefer sunflower oil to vegetable oil, but whatever rocks your boat. Just get 3 liters of it and then bring it over high heat until the oil reaches temperature of 180 degrees. And that's when we're gonna start frying our chips. So let's get them ready for that process. Okay, my friends, so while the oil is heating up, we want to marinate our chicken. So to do that, you wanna get an egg white, just one is enough. You can leave the yolk on the side like this, and I like to put in a little bit of Shaoxing wine, not too much, just a little taste, some oyster sauce. Now I've been running out of ingredients, to be honest, so ideally you want to use more than me, about a tablespoon or 2, but I didn't prepare myself good enough. It is what it is. And soy sauce, sesame oil and soy sauce. Now you want to stir that up like this. Perfect. And bring your chicken in. And now really mix it up quite good. We're gonna leave it on the side until it's gonna be time for dusting with corn flour. So that's what we're gonna do. You wanna leave it on the side now. Now we are gonna take our chicken balls and cover them with flour. And this one is quite simple. You just wanna get your cake flour or just all-purpose flour, whatever is good. You wanna put a good amount of flour in your chicken, and now you wanna mix it up, making sure that each piece gets thoroughly covered. This extra layer of flour before putting it through the batter is going to ensure that the chicken balls are nice and fluffy. They will have that nice, lovely little layer of fluff on the inside. They're gonna be crispy on the outside and pillowy on the inside. And this is why it's good to toast them through flour first after they have tenderized. So we're gonna leave that on the side until it's time to put them through the batter also. All right, let's do our fries. Now for the fries, you wanna take a tray and line it with paper because we're gonna have to pat them dry. So take 2 layers of paper. Like this, kitchen towels are great for this task. I know I go through a lot, but sure, look at food requires sacrifice. That's why we kill animals. After having strained your potato fries, you want to lay them out on the paper, and since they're going to be going into the oil, you want to take more towel and pat them dry. Like this, just so that they are not super wet going into the oil, because that can lead to an explosion and we certainly don't want that. So here they are. They're still somewhat wet and somewhat moist, but definitely less so than they were before. And I'm gonna just pat them dry like this. And now we're going to take a little bit of onion and paprika powder and sprinkle around. Okay, like this. You just want to grab some onion powder, sprinkle it evenly. It's actually going to stick to the moisture and also dry out a little bit our fries and give them a flavor. So you only win by doing that. Same with the garlic powder. I mean, if you're really offended by it, then you don't have to. But I kind of like to do it just to kind of stick to the excess moisture, dry them out, and give them a little something flavor-wise. So it's like this, and then you just wanna toss them around like this, and then I generally just put them back into the strainer. Here it goes. Just be careful not to get any bits of paper. As you see, it's tearing. So I get it back in the strainer, and from the strainer into the oil, they will go in 2 batches. So don't overcrowd your oil, but we'll get to that when we get to that. All right, I'll see you at the frying station. Actually, my friends, before we fry, let's just do something. So I wanna put a layer of paper on my baking tray. I'm gonna set up my cooling rack. I got a cooling rack today in the shop, oddly enough. You just wanna place your paper, place your rack, and that's what we're gonna do. This is going to ensure that all the excess oil is going to drip down and not remain on our food, which is overall great. Make sure you have that ready somewhere nearby your station. Okay, here we are at the frying station, and my thermometer broke, so I forgot to buy a new one when I was in the shop today. But a good way you can check whether your oil is ready is you can put it in the oil, and if it begins to violently bubble, it means it's about ready. Now, I want to give mine maybe another minute or so, because I'm not convinced by that violent bubble. Until you are convinced, don't put anything in the oil. Okay, my friends, I think now, look at it. Now I am convinced. Perfect. It's time to start the frying process. I'm going to start with my spring rolls, because they do keep their warmth quite long. So for me they are a good one to start with. Now look at it, how lovely it looks. It looks like a little letter, like your invitation to Hogwarts, doesn't it? But it's your invitation to eat. That's what it is. So pop them in there. Really nice. And now they're gonna have to fry for about 7 to 8 minutes until they get golden brown. That's what we are waiting for. And in the meantime, you may want to spin them around, because sometimes the top comes to the top and it remains white while the bottom gets a golden brown. So you're just gonna wanna continue moving them around every now and again for about 7 to 8 minutes until they get golden brown. That will be your cue, and I will see you there. Okay, my friends, so for me, I think the oil was very hot, and it's another one reason why. Oh, okay, never mind. I wanted to show off my chopstick skills. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it was about 5 minutes for me. I think the oil was very hot, but this is why it's good to fry your spring rolls first, because we haven't actually used any meat. So the inside is already cooked anyways. We stir fried the vegetables, so it's all good in the hood. We only really wanted to crispify them on the outside. And now let's just turn our attention to our lovely spring rolls. And everything that comes straight out of the oil loves a little bit of salt. So let's do that. Salt them like this. And here they are, and they are ready. Another good reason why you want to fry them first is because those little bastards, they stay warm, they stay hot for so long, so they're actually perfect candidate for your first fry. And they will balance the oil temperature and everything, especially if you're like me and you don't have a thermometer, because mine broke. it's a good way. And now let's just turn our attention back to the oil. It's still sort of bubbling because I think a lot of moisture got into it. I just cleaned my stove. Like literally yesterday I was scrubbing this stove so much because after the 5 days of Dragon Age I've been cooking a lot. All my footage got corrupted, by the way. That's why I'm re-recording it. But my stove looked like a disaster. So now I just want to let the oil bubble out the excess moisture, leave it alone for a little bit. I lowered the temperature, by the way. Sorry, pardon me. I lowered the temperature to a medium high. So you may want to do that as well. I mean, if you have a thermometer, that's ideal. You want to keep it at like 175, 180 degrees Celsius. Like that's ideal, but I'm improvising. But I'm a bit more experienced than your normal person, I think. Like, I'm not a master. I never went to school for this. But, you know, I've done my research.
5 minutes later.
Okay, guys, so to do our fries, I already made one batch. Our oil is ready. But that's what we're looking for. They're delicious. I'll show you a disaster that has occurred as a warning for what will happen if you put too much of your fries in at once into the hot oil. So definitely don't do that. And here it is. Now that you have been warned, make sure you put in an adequate size portion. Into your oil, and now be careful on how much it bubbles. You might want to do it one by one too. Just wait for the bubbles to sort of subside, then add a little bit more. And just be careful when working with hot oil. I had not listened to my own advice, and this is what happened. Okay, I think that's enough. And now you want to give them, since they are fresh fries that I'm doing, fresh fries will be frying for a bit longer than frozen fries. Frozen fries need about 7 to 8 minutes. Raw fries might need a little bit longer than that, maybe about 10. So keep moving them around and I'll check in with you after that. Okay, my friends, now our chips are done. Look at them. They're kind of more on the brown than the golden side, but I just wanted to make sure that they're super crispy because that's how I roll. Now I'm gonna put them on my cooling rack, and following the rule, everything fresh out of oil loves a good bit of salt. So we're going to salt it and then repeat for the rest of our fries. And then we'll check in a sec for our chicken because it's about time. Okay, so now onto the chicken. Now that our chicken has marinated, you want to get a lot of corn flour in a bowl like this, and now we're gonna get one by one each piece of chicken into the corn flour and cover it thoroughly. So you want to get your chicken, cover it really well, and you can actually go ahead and leave it in the flour. So we just kind of want to take them out of the moisture to not overwhelm the flour too much, but we can leave them here. So just carry on until you get all of them covered. Okay, my friends, so here we are. We are going to now take each strip one by one and throw it into the oil. We don't want to overcrowd our oil, so we might do this in 2 batches. Okay, but you just want to make sure that A, your chicken is thoroughly covered with the corn flour, and B, that your oil is not too crowded with the chicken. gonna give it 4 to 5 minutes. It's not gonna be too long until they get golden brown. Okay, now that they have turned golden brown, it's time to take them out. Look at them, how lovely they are. And put them on our cooling tray. And now we're going to repeat until we wrap them up, and I will see you, my friends. Ooh, don't forget to salt. I will see you, my friends, for the chicken balls batter. Alright, my friends, so for the chicken balls batter, I took a little bit of that corn flour leftover that I had from the other chicken. I'm gonna put a little bit of MSG, about half a teaspoon or so. I find that this really stabilizes the batter. So about maybe 2-3 tablespoons of corn flour. Now we're gonna put maybe 5 tablespoons of cake flour, about half a teaspoon of MSG, about a teaspoon or so of garam masala, and about a teaspoon of cinnamon. I find that it works really well. Now we're gonna take some sparkling water and add in slowly, creating a thick and luscious batter. Alright, so in the beginning I like to add just a little bit of water and allow the flour to kind of get accustomed to its new moist environment. Like this. And then I continue mixing, softening the batter ever so slightly until I reach the desired consistency. Now I think it's going to be perfect. It's still making resistance, but once we beat it, look, that's what we're looking for, like a thick pancake. That's what we want, because we're making chicken balls, so they need to have a thick layer of that batter on them. And now you want to grab your chicken, just make sure that you don't have too many lumps. I mean, they will still happen, but it's not that big of a deal, but I just like to have my batter quite smooth. Alright, so now chicken goes in, dusted chicken goes in, floury chicken goes in, and you wanna separate them because they kind of got sticky with all the flour and all the baking powder that we put on, like so. And now you just want to mix them through and they'll be ready to fry. Okay, now that our strip chicken is ready, you want to take your chicken balls covered in batter and you want to dump them piece by piece into the hot oil. Alright, like this again. Oh, we are not overcrowding our pan. Well, our pot in this case. So put them in there and they're gonna fry as well. 4 to 5 minutes. Not too long. They should come out nice and crispy on the outside, fluffy in the inside. That's what we're going for. Okay, so now that the final thing is frying, we're gonna start wok-ing. And to wok, you wanna heat up your wok, you wanna get your veg mix ready. That is, we took carrots, we chopped them the same way that we did for the filling of the spring rolls. Onions, same thing, and green bell pepper. And then you wanna mix it up and get your mix ready and ready to wok. We also have our spice mix. Tablespoon of garam masala, a tablespoon of cinnamon, a tablespoon of brown sugar, a tablespoon of salt, and a tablespoon of chili flakes. And you mix it all together and you get this. And we're gonna distribute it into 3 parts, same with the veggies, and do our fries, our crispy chicken and our chicken balls separately, tossing them through with the veggies, with the spice in a wok, and then combine them at the very end on a platter. And this is how you do your spice bag at home. Okay, now that your wok is hot, you want to put some oil. I actually ran out of oil because after the oil escaped from the pan, I put the final part of the oil I had back in there. So I took a little ladle of oil. Look, you gotta improvise. And now get 1/3 of your veggies in here. Toss them through. And you want to stir fry them for about a minute or so, just so that they get well acquainted with the wok before introducing your fries and your spice. Okay, now it's time to introduce our chips and 1/3 of our spice. So about this much. I do everything by eye. Accidents happen all the time. I'm the testament of that. And now you just want to stir them through until they get all nice hot and acquainted. And then you put them on the side and do that again with your chicken, and then do it again with your chicken balls. And then I will see you in the outro. And here we go, a true feast, worthy of a Saturday night, worthy of a hangover. Although I don't recommend it, I don't recommend making it while you're hungover. Just order takeout. But if you're craving hangover food and you want to challenge yourself, this is what you can make. It's absolutely gorgeous. It goes perfect with either curry sauce or I'm a sweet chili girl myself, so that's what I have. And now we're going to dig in. So actually, let's try it. It's absolutely delicious. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop me a comment down below. Introduce yourself. Let me know that you're watching. And I will see you on the next one. Bye!